Hey everybody, welcome to this week's Self-Care Live. We're here every fortnight on a Tuesday talking about different ways that you can look after yourself, particularly during this time with COVID and restrictions and everything going on in the world. We're here this week talking about pets and plants.
Woohoo.
My name is Catherine and this is
I'm
Michelle.
Michelle. Hi.
Yes. I forgot to introduce her, so I was like, oh yeah, that's probably important. Love it.
Everyone can just guess. It's
They
fine.
can just guess, yeah. It's like it starts with C, it rhymes with nothing.
Wait. Oh,
It's so hard to rhyme, Catherine. It is extremely difficult. Yep.
I can't think of anything. Wow.
But how about Michelle? I suppose you got the shell, so like any words that rhyme with shell probably. Do you have like a full rhyme? Like it rhymes with both syllables?
I don't know. I'm just thinking like tortoise shell, but that's
Tortoise shell. That's so cute though. I love it. Okay, anyone who's just tuned in, we're actually talking about pets and plants, not rhymes this week. Yeah, so we're talking about nurture and how looking after something else can be really fulfilling and really rewarding, and it can help us to slow down and to self-care. But we're also going to talk about the flip side of that, and that is when it gets a bit much or you take on too much, or you're dealing with guilt around the things that you can't do for the thing that you're looking after. So what sort of stuff do you look after, Michelle?
I do not have any pets, but I have quite a few plants.
Nice. I see some in the background there.
No, well, it is a plant. It's not my plant, but it's a nice plant anyway.
Very cute.
I can pretend it's my plant.
Yeah, why not? Does it have a name?
I have a couple of like little plants. I have a few. They're kind of just all around the house, but my favorite one is my fiddle leaf fig because it's just beautiful, and I haven't killed it, which is really surprising, to be honest.
Plants are hard work, particularly indoor plants in Victoria, because they're used to, most of them are tropical.
Yes.
Yeah, and then they come here and it's like dry and cold, and they're like, I want to die now. It's like, oh.
You need to have very particular light, I think. And I don't know if my house is quite the best in terms of lighting and things, but we make do. I want to have they're nice. They liven up my space.
Oh, that's awesome.
Go with it.
Yeah, no, for sure. It's really nice to have plants. I don't actually have plants. It looks like a plant.
I was going to say, that's a plant.
It's fake. I have fake plants. It's funny, I think we're on the opposite ends. Like I started with plants and then I got a cat. And then I was like, these plants are dead now because my cat would just destroy them and attack them. And I was like, something has to give here and it's got to be the plant. So I gave them to a friend and got me some fake ones.
I guess that helps in terms of like, you still get the benefit of having plants, but you don't have to actually look after them, which is kind of nice.
It is really nice actually. And they do a lot to make the space look really nice and just feel a lot more chill, a lot more sort of natural, which is really cool. Yeah, they make me happy still, which is really good. I probably don't get the exact same feeling that I had when I had plants, because like there's something a bit additional to like looking after it and like helping it to grow that is a bit different, I think.
Yeah. Plant baby.
Yeah, plant baby, exactly. And I suppose that's a feeling that it really comes down to. It's like just being able to look after something else, and also taking the time out of your day to spend with whatever it is you're looking after. Like I find with my cat, you know, he's really enriched my life. Like he's crazy and it's challenging at times. But overall it's like being able to snuggle in the afternoon on the couch and like, you know, just play with him. Like I'm always like, because he's always asking for play. So it actually gets me up from my desk and I'll play with him around the house with like the wand thingy for like, you know, every now and again, which has been really good. Like for me, obviously for him, but also for me as well.
Yeah, I think that's, I guess where looking after an animal versus looking after a plant becomes a bit different, because you do have that sort of comfort side with an animal that you wouldn't necessarily have, or that's not as obvious when you have just plants.
Yeah.
Because like you can't, like you could cuddle your plant, but it's not quite the same as when you cuddle your cat. Like you
Yeah.
can plant if you want to.
Just try it out, you know, just well,
Yeah, I feel
not
like
really.
it's not quite the same effect, but you do still get those routine sort of benefits with plants as well. And you know, you're looking
Yes.
after something, so you can set those sort of, they're almost like meditation routines, I guess. Like when you're looking
Yeah.
at a plant, you're like walking around, making sure they've all got water and making sure they're all in the right light and all that sort of stuff, and like talking to them. I don't know. That seems to be a thing that people do.
Yeah. Yeah, no.
And it's like that time that you set away for yourself and for your plants, and can give you a bit of routine as well if you're sort of lacking some routine.
Yeah, 100%. I've definitely found that with the cat. You know, those stories, and it is annoying. I'm not gonna lie, it is a bit annoying having a cat wake you up at this, you know, early every day and like, you know, harass you for food at different times because then you're like, but it also helps bring you back to reality, like, and helps you stay in routine because cats are very like routine bound creatures. I'm not exactly sure about dogs, but I know cats are, and they yeah, they're very much like they'll know the time of the day. They'll be like, yep, it's food time. And I find myself, I tend to get a little bit lost in things sometimes and lose track of time. So the cat's meowing, I'm like, oh, it's 4 o'clock or whatever it is, or 3 o'clock. Yeah.
Yeah, I guess that's what's put me off getting pets.
Yeah.
Because I think we're sort of saying that we'll talk about the flip side, which is like taking on too many things, or like being aware of what you can and can't manage.
Exactly.
For me, I feel like plants are okay because they don't need constant care. So
Yeah.
it's not like you've got another living creature that's sort of running around and doing things, and you have to like kind of keep an eye on it a little bit. Plants
Yep.
is like got this thing in the corner that's also, you know, living and beautiful and wonderful, but doesn't require maybe as much of your time, or as much work, I guess, as a pet would.
Yeah, no, 100%. There's a lot more flexibility in plants and other, as you, yeah, it is daily struggle, but there's a lot more flexibility with nurturing plants, or you know, whatever it is that you nurture. It could be like plushes. I have friends who have really extensive like plushie collections that they keep them clean, and they have like maintenance that they do on those, and you know, there's lots of ways to like feel that sense of looking after something and having that nurture and that reward of that nurture without necessarily being like a living thing as well.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
comforting.
it really is. Yeah. A little bit more on the flip side, it can be stressful if you're somebody who's already dealing with like too many commitments, or you're struggling like with routine already. You're struggling with, you know, I struggle with routine. In some ways, it has helped, but in other ways, it can actually make it harder because when you are having those days where you are off routine, or if you're really just like feeling overwhelmed, and then you've got this being that's like running around, shredding cardboard, ripping up your furniture,
Scratching all the stuff.
scratching things, yelling, just general chaos. Yeah, that can get pretty crazy pretty quickly. And it can also sometimes make it harder to keep your emotions under check. I mean, it's good practice, but it's also not necessarily always the thing that you need. I think ideally, if you have a pet, you need to have a room that you can go to where you don't have to deal with your pet for a little while.
Yeah, just something where you get a bit of space. But I can imagine that some days it would probably feel like, you know, another extra thing.
Yes.
That you have to do. Or sometimes you just, not necessarily with pets, but definitely with plants. For me, sometimes I forget to, you know, water them and do the things that you have to do. But I don't know, you can pick plants that are going to sort of be fine with that. Like you can make sure you pick ones that are resilient, that don't need that much care and attention, and then you've still got that benefit of like having the plant there and looking after that living thing, but not having the added stress that
Yeah.
sometimes come with that.
Yeah, no, definitely. And setting yourself up for success with like, you know, if you've got even like succulents are pretty good for that. They don't really require a lot of water. They're pretty hardy. But you still do need to water them. So even just setting up like a reminder that happens every, you know, 2-3 weeks or however long between your waters can be a really good option to prevent, because if you're somebody who is like struggles with, you're already struggling with like mental illness, or you're already struggling with like resilience, if you have like something else that goes wrong, it could just be like a bit to tip you over, or it could be really hard to get back up from that if some of the little things are like bigger triggers for you. So trying to set yourself up for success in finding things, because like pretty much everything can be rewarding, but it can also have like a shadow side or a difficult side. And like you mentioned, like finding, it's a sort of the same with animals to a degree. They're a little less predictable, obviously a bit more crazy, but like when you're actually looking for a pet, choosing one that's going to suit your lifestyle is super important. Like and like rescue operations and everything, can't stress this enough. Like the amount of people that they don't really think about the animal's individual personality, the needs of like that particular breed of animal, that particular subspecies, and then they end up with like this animal they just can't deal with, like people having sheepdogs in like tiny yards and stuff like that and not walking them, or like you know, for example with me, like it sort of just happened to me. I was looking after a cat for a friend, and then it was just like the person wasn't going to take it back, so I'm like, and I just, you know, I was so attached at that point. I was so attached. I was like, it's my cat now. But if I probably had have chosen for myself, don't listen to this, honey, but if I had chosen for myself, I probably would have chosen a lot more relaxed, chill cat, because I am somebody who does struggle a bit with anxiety, and I do struggle a bit with order and all that stuff. So it's been a challenge, but I think I've sort of been like, well, I need to rise to meet this challenge, because it's like the creature's well-being, or I'll need to figure out somewhere else for this cat to go. And so I've really worked at like making sure that I can deal with that, and I've looked into like behavior training, which is why I've got this, and like lots of treats and things, and it is starting to get a bit easier. He's also a kitten. Well, he's only just about, I think he's just shy of a year, so he's been learning. It's a steep learning curve.
He might chill. He might become a chill cat in time.
Give another year or two.
It's also like, even if committing to something bigger like a cat or a dog isn't quite something you feel like that you're ready for, you could always get like a fish.
Yes, 100%. Yeah, get a fishy. Just make sure you get them enough things to play with, and some plants and some little underwater tunnel things to play with and in, and they'll be happy as anything. They'll really have a good time. And companions. A lot of fish love companions. Depends on the breed though. But yeah.
Some fish do not like companions.
No. Fighting fish, no. No. don't do it. But yeah.
But yeah, I guess it's similar with both types, like, you know, pets and plants. You're sort of looking at stuff like, do your research and see what's going to suit you. Especially if nurturing something is something that you know is going to help you with your self-care. Because I feel like if you sort of done those activities before, you sort of know what feeling you're going to get from them and how they're going to help you. So if you know that's something that is good for you, you can, do a bit of research and find some going to suit your personality, your house, your lifestyle, all that sort of stuff.
Yeah, and talk to your friends or your family who have pets or have plants or have whatever it is that you're looking into caring for. Kids, that's a big one. I'm not even going there.
Quite large, yes.
Yeah. But if you're looking into any of these decisions, like talk to people who have that experience and get to know what's actually involved with it before making that decision. Like, you know, what, for example, like what they need to do with like their Jack Russell or whatever it is, and like how their Jack Russell's temperament is, and you know, all of the bits and pieces that are involved, like vet visits. And you might even, for example, like take on a little bit of that responsibility, be like, hey, can I walk your dog? Can I to see if you can keep that routine and see if that's going to like work for you. And also like even plants, you could offer to look after plants when people go on holidays to see if that's something that, you know, you enjoy or something that you can do regularly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because then I guess, you know, if you accidentally don't water your plant and then your plant dies, it's really sad.
Yeah, it is. It is
And
really sad.
it is a reality. Like, you're
Yeah.
not gonna get it right every single time, and you know, there's no right way to look after things.
It's so hard with some plants. Like I had
Yes.
I'm trying to remember what it was. It was a bird's nest fern, and they're notoriously hard to keep alive. And I was like, I'm gonna do this, and I was like looking up, researching, spritzing it with water, like making sure I didn't overwater, checking temperature, keeping it humid. You know, I put a bit of water underneath it that I changed regularly just to keep the humidity. I made sure it was in direct sunlight. It still died.
Oh, yeah.
Still died.
Sometimes it's just like,
Yep.
I don't know. Sometimes it's just what's going to happen and not much you can do to fix it. And, you know,
Exactly.
it's disheartening, but it's okay.
Yeah, it is. It is okay.
I've killed a few plants in my time and, you know, I still have them. We persist. You just learn experiences and you keep going.
Yeah, 100%. That's it. So yeah, and the other thing I think is dealing with feelings of guilt that can come up around those issues. Like, you know, you might have a pet or a plant and things aren't going as well as you'd hoped. You know, I know with my cat, I was dealing with a lot of guilt because he's 100% an outdoor cat. Like that, those were his early years. You can probably hear him now. He's running out to the cat run. Yeah, it's like thunder. He's just like it's crazy. Yeah, and so he was running around the house and he was not having a good time. Like he was ripping things. I tried all the toys, all of the, you know, stimulation stuff, try to get him interested, and it just wasn't working out. So I was like, okay. So I was dealing with these feelings of guilt, but I'm like, I've got to do something a little bit extra. So that's when I was like, sussed out how to build a little cat run extension and like how to get that up and running. And it was hard work, but it definitely helped ease that. And then sometimes you're going to have guilt that you can't really remedy. And if the pet is fairly happy, like if they're generally okay and it's just pet things, I suppose, that pets do, or plant things that happen, like sometimes they die, sometimes they get sick. You know, sometimes you just gotta you gotta forgive yourself. You gotta be like, I'm doing the best I can, and it's enough.
Yeah. But it is hard. I don't know. Lots of things to consider when you're thinking of nurturing other things for self-care, I guess.
Definitely. And there's no pressure. Like it's not like there's a hierarchy. Like looking after pets is the best and plants is somewhere in the middle. It's like, no, they're all looking after things. They're on the same level. If you want to look after something, it doesn't matter if it's plushies or if it's a plant or if it's an animal or if it's a kid, you know, it's all about, you know, I suppose finding what works for you and making sure that you balance that.
Yeah, I think that's the most important thing. Just like knowing what's going to suit your personality and what's going to work as a long-term sort of self-care thing for you, whatever that may be.
Absolutely, for sure. Yeah, and a lot of this stuff is transferable to your own self-care as well. You know, you're going to have lots of these exact same challenges with trying to nurture yourself and trying to look after yourself. So lots of this can sort of be translated over.
100%, because nurturing yourself is a big one.
Really big one.
It's like the whole purpose of self-care in the end is just like being that person to look after you.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly right. So yes, I was when we were talking earlier about finding plants or pets that really work in with your own self-care. It's like it's symbiosis, really. It's finding, it's like two totally different species, like really deeply helping each other survive and thrive, which I think is really cool.
Yeah. When I was I was doing a bit of Googling beforehand because I was like, I feel like I need to be more prepared. But I was looking up a little bit about like what benefits people get from looking after plants. And one of them came up is that it's like a form of companionship. So even though a plant isn't like a talking sort of, you know, warm living thing, it still is a living thing. And so you still get that companionship sort of benefit of having those living things sort of surrounding you and looking after them. And you can talk and sing to your plants. I'm sure they love it. I do.
Yeah, I think I saw some research that was talking about how like when people sing to their plants, they grow slightly different directions and things like that, which is really cool. I thought
Yeah,
that was lovely.
yeah,
Yeah.
because they are living things, and
Yeah.
they want to live and thrive like in the same way that you do. So you've sort of got that, I don't know, that relationship that you get to nurture and build and then just expand upon if you want to.
100%.
Plants, house full of plants.
Absolutely. And remember, there's no shame in buying some fake plants from Kmart if you can't deal with it, but you still want the aesthetic part of it. And there's no shame in getting, a Tamagotchi or, I don't know, whatever the equivalent is. Sims, looking after Sims.
Yes.
Whatever it is that you want to look
Sims
after.
is a great one.
Right?
There's like zero stress with Sims. You can just look after them, make sure they're fed, and you get those sort of fun nurturing benefits as well.
I love it. Oh gosh. Awesome. Well, thank you for tuning in. This has been a very comprehensive session on pets and plants. Oh gosh, I feel like I could like put this on my resume, just be like pets and plants expert. No, not really.
Oh my god, if someone called me a plant expert, all their plants they wouldn't be alive. I'm not a plant expert. My plant strategy is find plants that thrive on neglect.
Literally. So, the Australian continent strategy, basically.
Yes. Yeah, that's how I'm actually repositioning my garden as well. I'm going to redo my whole garden and it'll be natives so that I
perfect.
actually look after them.
Yeah, they do not care. Like, you're just like, this is pure clay full of poison. And they're like, yeah, I'll grow. It's like, okay, you do you. Great. Anyhow, we will see you in a fortnight. Thank you for tuning in, everybody. We hope you've gotten something out of this. Make sure to answer the poll, leave any comments or any questions or hints or tips. Post your pictures of your pets, your plants. We want to see them. Yes. We want to know what you're looking after. We'd love to hear it. All right. We'll see you later. Bye.
Bye.